Let's talk about overwhelm. We've all been there. You run around from meeting to meeting, commitment to commitment, always trying to catch up. You try to juggle your work commitments with maintaining your friendships and romantic relationships, all while trying to stay in somewhat decent physical shape. But at the end of the day, sometimes it feels like no matter how hard you try, you just can't do it all. I've definitely been there. Overwhelm is that familiar feeling when we feel stressed and rushed, and when we would love to just give up and take a break, but we know that if we do, things will just keep piling up, just making the situation worse. While we're bound to feel overwhelmed in life at certain points, this just isn't a great default way to live, or at least that's what I choose to believe. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some strategies that you can use to calm down and regain a sense of control when you feel overwhelmed. My first strategy is one that you can use anytime you're feeling overwhelmed, including in the moment when you're in crisis mode, and that is a brain dump. Oftentimes, we can feel overwhelmed simply because we have so many thoughts swirling in our head, which creates anxiety and prevents us from thinking clearly. This can be because you're thinking about thousands of things from your to-do list, or maybe you're just worried and obsessing about something specific that's going on in your life. Or sometimes the feeling of overwhelm is caused by too much ambiguity because you're not actually clear on what you're doing or why. Whatever the reason, I always find that a brain dump helps me feel better. A brain dump is exactly what it sounds like. Take out a blank piece of paper and write out everything that is on your mind. If you're trying to keep track of an endless list of things to do in your head, get it out of your head by writing everything down. The human brain is great at having new ideas, but not so much for storing them. If you can empty the contents of your brain out onto a piece of paper, your brain will immediately let go of the stress of holding the ideas so that you can approach them with clarity. I found that this can work not only when you're overwhelmed by having too many things to do, but also if you're fixated on one particularly stressful worry. If you're worried about a big decision coming up, or about your finances, or about a problem in your relationship, write down everything that you're feeling about that, including everything that you're afraid might happen, and just get it all out with no judgment. Somehow, by getting all that out of your head and onto a piece of paper, it allows you to take a metaphorical step back and look at the situation with a different perspective. My next strategy for dealing with overwhelm is to schedule a catch-up day. Not a vacation day, but a catch-up day. Usually, when I take a vacation day, or if I block off a day from work for a special event, it's because I'm actually going on vacation or spending all a day at that special event. But a catch-up day is something different. If you're able to block off a whole day of work with no meetings, or maybe just take a vacation day, you can use this time to leisurely catch up with everything, including all those little life admin things that you have been piling up, or cleaning your house, or simply sitting on the couch and doing nothing to let your brain recharge. I used to try to plan fun activity to distract myself from feeling overwhelmed and burnt out, but I found that by actually setting aside time to get caught up on things, as well as relaxing, journaling, and taking care of myself, I'm able to regain a sense of calm control and return to my metaphorical baseline. I absolutely love the feeling of being completely caught up, both in life and in work, and have found that this is hugely helpful in getting out of burnout. This strategy of implementing a catch-up day is probably not going to work when you're currently in panic mode and feeling overwhelmed or burnt out in the present moment. So I would probably recommend starting with a brain dump if you're experiencing an overwhelm crisis right now. But this is a great midterm solution, and I think that just knowing that you have a predefined catch-up day coming up can even help you stay grounded in the moment, because you know that soon you will have the chance to stop drowning and regain your sense of control. My next idea for dealing with overwhelm and burnout is to look closely at your schedule and do a time audit for how you spend your time. This strategy, again, is not going to help you when you're experiencing a crisis mode right now, but it's a great way to apply some planning and logic to help alleviate future feelings of overwhelm and burnout. There are a bunch of ways to perform a time audit, but for the purposes of preventing overwhelm and burnout, I recommend taking a critical look at your weekly calendar to understand how you're actually spending your time. Are there meetings on your work calendar that you don't really need to attend? Are there tasks that you spend your time on that would be better delegated to a teammate? Are there social events that don't really interest you, or plans with friends that always tend to stir up drama and drain your energy? Setting boundaries and cutting things out of your calendar can be uncomfortable, but it can also free up time to help you feel more in control about how you spend your time. When I did my time audit, I made one small adjustment to my professional scheduling that made a big difference. I noticed that I was scheduling most meetings for a default of 1 hour, when many of them were ending early and didn't actually need that hour. Now, when it's appropriate, I try to schedule meetings for only 30 minutes, which forces me to stay on track during the meetings and use the time efficiently. My customers definitely appreciate the shorter meetings, and I immediately created more time during my day that I can now spend on other things. Another tip that sounds super counterintuitive that I've discovered recently is to get bored. Yep, you heard that right. Get bored. I read this amazing article recently that said when we're focused on things and doing things, our brains are hard at work processing these activities. Once we stop for a second, though, the brain enters a resting mode and starts to recharge. In fact, experiencing boredom can help us calm down and rest our brains, which can, weirdly, stimulate creativity and increase problem-solving abilities. This is why when we let our mind wander in the shower, we tend to come up with our best ideas. So while a burnt-out brain feels less capable of creative thinking, a bored brain might just be the solution to that. Finally, and this is obviously super important, is to prioritize taking care of your physical needs. When I'm personally feeling burnt out or overwhelmed, I tend to eat less healthy foods, I don't sleep as well, and I exercise less. I also tend to drink more caffeine in an effort to stay focused so that I can stay on top of everything. This is of course often followed by drinking more alcohol to help unwind at the end of a long day. It's all a vicious cycle, which will only lead to even worse feelings of burnout and overwhelm. Instead, try to break the cycle of burnout and go get a massage to take care of your body. Go take a 3-hour nap on a Saturday afternoon. Go outside and walk in the sun for 15 minutes and swap that emotion-driven pizza delivery for a fresh, nutritious meal. It's easy to forget how much our mental state is tied to our physical state. So here is your reminder to take care of your body, and it will help take care of your mind. And that is all I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed this video and feel more empowered to help prevent and deal with feelings of burnout and overwhelm. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy this video I made about performing a time audit on your schedule. So definitely check that out here if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.